Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we got a little bonus content for you. There's a new release. There's a new Dungeons and Dragons release with some new monsters. What is this one, Sam?
So they've released a series in the past that have been free monsters that are called the Monstrous Compendium. So volume 1 was Dragonlance stuff or something, or number 2 was Dragonlance stuff. Number 3 was Minecraft mobs. They're like 4 little cute things to go alongside the releases of the tertiary products they got, right? So the Dragonlance book got some extra monsters. The Minecraft and Dungeons and Dragons thing got some extra monsters that you play Minecraft Dungeons and Dragons with your kids and stuff. This most recent one, notably all those were free.
Yeah.
The most recent one corresponds with the release of the new Magic the Gathering set, Wilds of Eldraine. It's called Monstrous Compendium Volume 4, Eldraine Creatures. And this is a robust collection. When I say robust, is 25 creatures that you can use to play in the world of Eldraine. So the idea is you got this fairy tale setting that's very akin to, like, very high fantasy fairy tale. So you got your witches, you got your knights of the round table. There was some Arthurian stuff in the original one. This one's more about the fairy tales. Is about, three goats gruff. They're these satyrs that are representative of the goats, and you got the trolls and the bridges and stuff.
You got
It's very, yeah. The goose mother is a giant goose hydra that lays golden eggs and stuff. It's very cute. And the monsters let you sort of input creatures into that world to populate it and have your own good time playing in this Magic the Gathering IP. Now, it is $8. It is only on D&D Beyond, so it isn't a product you get to own. It's basically something you're renting, because they can, if the site ever goes down, if they ever decide they don't want this to be yours anymore, they have the full rights to do whatever they want with it and deny you access to it and all that kinds of things. Internet access, this is no good for you. There's no PDF copy of it. There's no way to print this out. This is digital only product, which I don't love. As someone who plays, I have so many books and I love them, even if they're bad. I like to have the physical thing in my hand, and I can't have that here, and that's kind of a bummer. But beyond that, this is just a collection of monsters. And when I say it's just a collection of monsters, that's kind of an issue for it.
What is a Monstrous Compendium?
Yes, it's a Monstrous Compendium, and it's 25 of them. But, like, the purpose of this, in my vision, what I think this is supposed to do is sort of give you an on-ramp to play in the Eldraine setting. And the best stuff in this that I've read through is the lore. I think this gives you a decent chunk of world-building stuff to start from, right? It talks about the fauns and the merfolk, the dwarves and the elves, the different species that are in the area. It talks about the goblins being redcaps. It references where you can find stat blocks in the monster manual to be like, redcaps can use the goblin stat block, ogres can use the monsters of the multiverse to monster manual stat blocks, the giants can use the big beast presents glory of giant stat blocks, right?
They don't have their own stat blocks?
Not in the compendium as well. It references other ones for it. So if you want giant geese and giant oxen,
just a list?
Yeah, no. There are 25 unique ones on top of these bonus lists. So within the lore, it says this is where you can reference these other monsters.
Okay.
And then you also have 25 unique stat blocks. They are actually, some of them are pretty good.
All right.
On top of all of these. They're basically giving you shortcuts to populate the Eldraine world with a bunch more stuff. So if you want giant geese and giant oxen to go with the, Cloud Palace giants like Baluna and stuff, you can do that using the stuff presented in Bigsby Presents Short Glory of Giants. If you want to
they'll have giant geese and say, use this stat block from the book, but the goose mother
is in this compendium.
Right. Okay. I got you.
Exactly. Now, the actual stat blocks, again, there's 25 of them. There's 2 CR, like the lower CR stuff, there's a handful of them. Basically, CR 2 or lower, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options, which isn't robust, which makes this a little bit rough for low tier play. Mid tier play is a lot better. You get a lot of options, CR 3, 4, 5, 6, up to CR 11. And there's one like upper tier monster, CR 18, the Beanstalk Worm, which is like a big monstrosity that you get to climb around on. It has some cool gameplay patterns with it. You got Arcana Boundaries that gets a bunch of reactions. Design-wise, I like a lot of these monsters. I think there's some interesting stuff happening here. Some of the lower CR ones still are really cute. So, like, the Ginger Brute, for example, is a little angry gingerbread man that runs around and tries to kill you. But if you kill it and you eat it, you get temporary hit points. And that's really cute. That's kind of an awesome little feature that I'm glad they have on this kind of archetype. I think this monster design, honestly, is better on average than we see in a lot of the other printed material we get, just because even the lower CR stuff tends to have a bit more juice to them. And while I find the high fake kind of plain, they all still have at least some little cute thing that they're doing that's fairly unique to them, that makes this a decent selection of monsters that I'm into. I'm cool with it.
All right.
Now, am I so cool with it that I'd pay $8 for it? No, I would not buy this again. I don't think most people have much need for this at all. If you want to play in the world of Eldraine specifically, and you want to play in the lore of Eldraine, this gives you a starting point, I guess, but it's kind of limited in that starting point. And it's also like there have been products in the past that have all been free. Remember, the other Monstrous compendiums I talked to you about before when I started this video were all free. Wizards also used to release this thing called, I think it's Plane Shift, which was D&D played in the different settings, and those used to include character options. So like you could play an Amonkhet, and in the Amonkhet setting, it's inspired by ancient Egypt, and you had these big deities that were big parts to it, and there were a bunch of specifically reflavored and rebuilt cleric domains for those deities. So you could have characters built to play in the environment as well, right? The last thing I kind of need as a DM whenever I'm going into a new world is monster stat blocks. I can repurpose billions of different monster stat blocks. I can find them online. I have a ton of different access to monster stat blocks. I don't really need monster stat blocks as a DM that badly, more than I need players to have reasons to compelling to stay here. Whether I need like information about the world. All of those free guides were longer than this and provided more world and more important information to playing in the settings than this does for Eldraine to me. This has some cute quest hooks and stuff that aren't really framed as quest hooks. They're sort of just like a, hey, Lord what's his face? He's just called the Sewer King, Lord Skitter of Edgewall, that's his name. He's a villain that you might fight in the early tiers, I guess, and Totentan's the Pied Piper, and he's doing some things too. But like they're not framed in a way that I can easily access. I just have to like read through all of this and then I find it and then I have to sculpt it into my own thing. I would love just to have some quest hooks or some kind of structuring in here. So as a DM, I'd have an easy toolbox to start playing in this setting. I don't know. If you're a player, you definitely don't need this. If you're a DM and you want to play in the world of Eldraine, you could use this, but you definitely don't need it. And I think just like reading the short stories on the site are going to be more beneficial than this. Just like going to the card image gallery for the Wizards of the Coast's like Wilds of Eldraine set's going to provide you as much value as this will, I think.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not a Magic the Gathering player. I don't even know what Eldraine is.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's the majority of people too. And like while the Goose Mother is cool, a lot of this is very specific. Like red-toothed werefoxes are pretty close to werefoxes. You don't need this book for those. Like you could just use a different form of werebeast and call them werefoxes. They get a bonus action dash disengage. Yeah, they're like elves is the thing.
Yeah,
is the lore around it, I guess. But like, I don't know. This I'm really bummed out that it's got printed. I don't think it's worth $8. It signals to me that they're like trying to figure out how to make micro monetizations on D&D Beyond to try and sell whatever they possibly can.
Yeah, this was the most interesting part to me of your written review, which will be linked in the comments.
Thanks.
Or not in the description. But yeah, you're theorizing on what this could potentially mean.
Yeah, so we know that in the upcoming release of D&D 1, they're trying to make more of a digital platform that people use. They're trying to make their own virtual tabletop and stuff. And again, we've seen that they've chopped up in a lot of the content online, so you can buy access to a feat on D&D Beyond. You can buy access to like this species on D&D Beyond, and then it goes in your compendium or whatever. This to me signals them trying to figure out how to package as little content as possible that they can monetize. And this used to be free, and it not being free anymore signals like, oh, they're shifting their business model to try and make more money out of nothing, out of things that were kind of given before. And as consumers, that's obviously bad for us. Like, that's not ideal. The books are getting shorter. They are not as well put together as some of the past books have been. Not some of the past books were also really bad. Rise of Tiamat and Tyranny of Dragons is pretty awful. I have not read the re-release. Hopefully it's better. But like, Bola's Guide to Monsters is one of the best books they ever released, in my opinion, and it was shorter than I think it should have been. Monster manuals in the Player's Handbook were fairly long, and they were robust, a good starting point. But whenever you get something like Xanathar's Guide to Everything as a rules expansion, and it's got like one subclass for each class, that's such a small quantity of content in the grand scope of things. Like this is not a direction that D&D needs to be going in my opinion. I think people want more robust content. They want more access to content. They want regular access to useful things. This doesn't seem like that. This seems like a way to milk people that want to buy and own everything, and that's not going to be good for people that want to play this game in the long term. It's online only. Like,
well, the future is happening. There's going to be, with everything going digital, even if you're at a table, like everybody's got computers or whatever, a lot of people just aren't going to be buying physical books anymore. What like how? What else can they do?
So I will say this: I think that that's a little bit overblown. I think whenever we say people aren't buying books anymore,
I
that
didn't
is
say they are not. I said some people aren't going to be. That's
my experience in the role-playing game space is that normally there were one or two people at a table that would buy books. There would be a really dedicated player, and there would be the DM, and those would generally be the people that would have the books, and everyone else would use the party's books, right, to build their characters. That's kind of how it's been for a while. Now it's a little bit easier for one or two people to own the books and to be able to point people to make their characters using digital resources that normally aren't provided by Wizards of the Coast. Normally they're through wikis and illegitimate sources to find this information that may not be, like, you know, strictly speaking, above board in the eyes of WotC, but is definitely good for them because it gets more people playing their game and stuff, right? So I don't necessarily like and believe the concept that this is something on the decline in a major fashion. Their books haven't historically ever sold well. Adventure modules and stuff aren't ever going to hit the mainstream because people physically can't run them, right? Like if you have 6-player parties with 1 DM and 5 players, 5 of the 6 people don't need the content they're printing, right? And those are the people that are engaging with the system at all in the first place. Moving onto a digital platform and trying to monetize what DMs are here just feels predatory to me. It doesn't feel like it's actually providing the few people that are spending money on this reasonable options for their payments, given especially that there's subscription services involved. You have to pay money and over time to use some D&D Beyond features and whatnot, right? You can buy all of the digital versions of D&D Beyond and they can all go away in a heartbeat, and that's an issue, right? Not having a digital way to have a PDF of these things is a real problem if the sites go down. Good. Yeah. So like this future of D&D Beyond hasn't been panning out that well for them. They saw huge subscriber losses whenever they had the giant Hasbro controversy where they, you know, were talking about removing all of the OGL stuff, right?
The giant Hasbro controversy?
One of the many.
Yes.
I don't know. I think the Monstrous Compendium Volume 4 to me signals a bad turn. And it's been happening for a while. This is the next evolution of it, is selling content that used to be free. And I think that you shouldn't buy it. I don't think you need it. And I think that moving forward, we're going to see more stuff like this because it's so inexpensive to make and so easy to host, right? There's no reason for them not to just try and take your money with these things that you will literally not run a single monster from. I own this. I doubt I will ever run more than 1 monster in this unless I deliberately make an Eldraine game. It's hard enough to get any game of my own that I've got bubbling around in my head going. The idea of me running an Eldraine game and using one of these monsters is laughable. So, like, and again, I probably could have found a stat block close enough to what I'd want a Gingerbrew to be online. I probably could have homebrewed that without that much extra effort that I shouldn't have spent $8 on this.
Yeah.
Long and short of it, most people don't want this. I wouldn't recommend buying it. And I would steer clear of D&D Beyond when possible. Third-party products are great. Go with those instead. Cobalt Press, great little company. There's tons of other ones out there. Machamp Press is great. Peruse your local. It's a renaissance for third-party content for D&D 5th edition. I can't recommend them enough. Wizards isn't great. Use them instead.
All right. All right. Well, thank you, Sam. And yeah, thank you, everyone, for watching. Let us know what you think down in the comments. Got a lot to talk about here. Interested in hearing what people have to say.
Yeah, this is more about the product and not like about the landscape of the product and the product itself. The product is 25 monsters.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time. Like and subscribe. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.